This is a good step in getting the candidates necessary to vet properly to the table for him to bring to us. We're not trying to take any powers or responsibilities away from the mayor. We just want him to have a fully fed plate to choose from. So I would like to be a rebuttal to anyone that feels like we are frivolously spending this kind of dollars unnecessarily. So I hope that this resolution can move forward, and our hope and our goal is to be, an assisting mechanism to the mayor to make this accomplishment move along smoothly. Make a motion that we accept this resolution.
I'll second.
Any discussion? I'd like to point out to folks on this here, and I appreciate this, the $25,000 to do that. I kind of took the liberty from what y'all suggested there, and I went online and checked some of these different companies that y'all sent me, and the fees run anywhere from 18%, depending on which one of those you're picking. I've not discussed it, let me just look up the runs from 18% to 40% base salary on them. And they told me there's no way you would ever get a city administrator, get one of them to take $25,000 for our fee. That's going to take that at least for one. What I would recommend that we do, and I personally, I realize authority-wise, I'm the one that's supposed to appoint the city administrator, I'm the one supposed to appoint the public works director. I would prefer, if we have the right if we have the right city administrator, I have no intention of picking them. That's what I would hope for. If they meet the minimum qualifications and stuff, at least 10 years experience or more, they've already networked, they know wherever they're coming from. They have a network of people they can go and let him bring them or her, bring in the public works director. If we look at it, it looks okay, I'll nominate it to y'all, and y'all can confirm on whatever there. And I think even if I pick the public works director, I find the public works director before we do the city administrator, we got the cart before the horse effect. The public works director is going to be working for the city administrator, and if they don't get along, we just turn around and we don't want to buy into that. So I would recommend that we scratch the public works director position out of that there. And I appreciate the money that is there. And also, as you said, the two that I've nominated two public work director people, and I've nominated two city administrators. When I go to that website and I went to there, both of those come under those two of the companies, the two that I nominated, Ms. Harrison Lee and Mr. Sutton, both come from they're listed on those companies. They are, matter of fact, they were bragging to the one, the reason why you didn't get it, they landed her job. And the other one, they're in the middle of trying to recruit him for another one. So I think I have a master's degree in personnel management. I think with y'all selection, we made pretty good, I think, filling the qualifications. But if y'all want to put that money there, you can put it there, whether or not I spend it or not. I don't know, I'm kind of hesitant to spend money just like some food. Because I know, like I said, there's no way of talking to them, you can hire you. You can't do both. And you'd be doing good to get one at that if we decide to use that. And that's my comments for that on there. Anybody else?
Yes, Mr. Mayor.
Mr.
Mr. Mayor and Council, my concern with this resolution is that the charter states that it's your prerogative to nominate council to approve. My biggest concern is that if the city is going to move forward, we need to look at something of this nature across the board for other appointees, even the ones that the council made. I think if it's good for the mayor to have his assistants, I think the council assist in their selection. So I'm not in favor of that myself. I don't have any problem with across the board. If we're going to identify qualified individuals that can help us move down the road for the city's concern in all positions, I would be in favor of that. But just to require you or to mandate you to go through this process, I'm not in favor of that.
Mr. Mayor, just wanted to point out that the resolution does read that we're wanting to get two candidates, one for the city administrator, one for the works director. This is a good faith effort from this council to assist you with being able to vet that. If you feel like you don't want the support of this council in helping you finance the potential of bringing in at least a city administrator, and I agree with you in that if you can secure a city administrator, he is going to be that point of contact for the public works director and his downline under our new work charter. So I would certainly encourage you to incorporate him or her in that process. I just want you to know that this is a good faith effort on this council's part to help get some candidates brought forward. Let's say you can secure the city administrator, bring him in, and through y'all's working together, find us a good public works director. There's, this is just an outreach from this council to try to assist you. If you feel like this is a binding, if you feel like this is handcuffs or a negative act on behalf of this community, on behalf of the city, it's been misinterpreted. We had spoken privately, you agreed, and when you disagree with the open forum, you agreed, and it's conveyed to me and to this council, that we failed, not just you, but we failed in the vetting process, allowing employees to be involved in the process of hiring with their superior. So out of your own words, you said that we failed in properly doing this process before. So in keeping in mind that you sir are going to be out of town for the next 12 or 15 out of 30 days of this month, we need to get somebody in this office as a city administrator to assist. So if you're saying that you don't support this resolution, I would make a motion to withdraw, and you go ahead and present as you feel need to. This was no intentions from this council to hand tie you or to choke you in your ability to bring people forward. So I would just ask if you want me to withdraw my motion, then I will do so, sir, but it's done in a good, heartfelt effort to assist you move quickly, because this city needs leadership, it needs a city administrator, it needs public works director.
No, and I appreciate that. That y'all want to support me on it there. But as you said too, Mark, you made a very good point that we all failed in the selection process when we had employees picking it. So the two that I nominated didn't come through that process. When I put on my master's degree in personnel management that I have, and I selected two people, and I nominated them. What I have trouble with this resolution bill is the third paragraph in the resolution. I appreciate you sending the money. The money's there if I need it, but I disagree with the legal needs of it where it says, whereas to the date, the city has been unable to locate sufficient qualified candidates to fill the position of administrator and public works director by its own efforts at recruiting candidates for either position. I have located them. I did locate them. I think what this is, they all meet the qualifications that's in the city's qualifications board there. But it should be made down. The council has the right to reject my choices. But I think that line there, that whereas line is not accurate, and I would ask that you strike that from there. And as I said, I have no vote on it there, and I appreciate y'all's assistance. And if the money's there, if I needed to talk to some of them there, but I'm going to continue to try and do the best job that the citizens have voted me to, and with my experience of rebuilding cities and personnel management for over 30 plus years, and thinking to save money. Mr. Steinberg, we talked about don't need it to have it there, that's not, I appreciate it very much.
Motion's been made, we have a second, sir.
So call for a vote.
So move.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3, 4. Opposed?
Opposed?
Thomas opposed. All right, there's no other business. Do I have a motion to adjourn this special call meeting? That's it. Yeah. Yeah. There we go. Okay, second.
I second.
All in favor? 5. Okay. Adjourn. We got 16 minutes, but my watch that we all up and go home.
This is what they call it. So are you speak white? I don't know if they'll allow us to speak here. It's going Yeah, I haven't talked to who called? Yeah, Simon. And he said we could voice our opinion. So I'm just wondering, we have to repeat ourselves again Monday. Get up there and read the whole thing. When I was watching Billy McDonald that time, you driveway from Landon they do, they have to get approved for that. That's a question. Yeah. I do know that we don't have one right on the county road. Check our that. And one of the conditions that staff recommended before they do this, they have to know, which is mine. Since they've already got a driveway, why don't you? Yeah, plus your daughter's bedroom is right here. Yeah. Her bedroom is right here. She is up for I know 3 of them are already using today.
All right, good evening. It's now June the 5th, it's 2012 at 7 p.m. And it's our regular working session, and I need a motion to call this meeting to order.
I'll make a motion.
Have a second?
I'll second.
Bushman, all in favor? Vote. Invocation. Reverend Johnson, Pastor Johnson, or Reverend Johnson, would you mind giving us our invocation for the regular meeting? And she's got a mic right here you can use.
Gracious God, we just thank you for this opportunity to come together as leadership in this community, as we are called about to do the duty that speaks to the needs of the people and the citizens in this community. We thank you that you will govern over this planning meeting and that you will do all that is pleasing in thy sight. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. Thank you. Pastor Johnson is the pastor for the Trinity United Methodist Church. Y'all will rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Just as an admin note, and not for your sympathy, my doctors and my attorney told me to let y'all know I had some surgery today. I'm no longer under anesthetics. I'm good to go. But if I do go stupid, even though some people think I do that normally anyways, I just declare that I've got a little medical incident here. Okay, we have a motion to adopt the agenda as it is.
Mayor, if you could, I'd like to amend the agenda, ask that item 3 be removed, not that the importance of item 3 is not a solid need. With recent events and with Don Johnson being ill, we've just not had the ability to do our due diligence and bring forth the changes needed. Hopefully we get that done in the next one session. And then write a new business if we could. documents A through G, the ordinances and resolutions that are presented to each of the council. These are items of need and want to bring this forward this time.
You know, we need to read those in, what those are. We need to read that in, what those are.
I think it's probably best to read this and make sure it's right.
What A through G is.
Yes, this first sheet.
Yeah.
A is an ordinance to amend the code of ordinance so to clarify the related assessments of collections and sanitation fees. B is a resolution authorizing the mayor to work through GMA, which is Georgia Municipal Association, to hire a temporary city administrator during the time period until a full-time city administrator is hired. Resolution approving the salary range for the full-time city administrator that we are going to be putting out for recruitment. Resolution amending the city budget to transfer $12,000 from the general fund balance to the records court personnel and salary and wages fund to cover incurred payroll expenses to maintain the position of a part-time municipal court clerk in payroll through December 31st, 2012. E is a resolution authorizing the city to contract with the CW Matthews for road paving services for North Park, Evergreen Terrace, and Medical Boulevard within the city of Summerlin. Resolution F is authorizing the city to execute an amendment to the professional services agreement between the city and Total Tech Group as to delegate the client contact to the city treasurer. G is a resolution basically affirming transfer of $25,000 in support of the action this council took at the special call meeting.
Are there any other amendments to the agenda? So that's a motion by Mr. Alcott. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? No? Okay, under old business, we have item number 1 to be presented by David Jack. It's a resolution authorizing the city to contract with Greystone Grading Inc. for the Rock Quarry Road Bridge project water main location.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item is basically just a housekeeping item. This resolution was passed previously by the City Council. However, it contained wording saying that the work to be done by Greystone Grading was excavation work, and this resolution simply changes the word from excavation to water main relocation, which is more accurate as reflected in the contract. It's just a housekeeping item to make sure our language is correct.
And if I may remind, there's no voting tonight, this is a working session. We're just going to try and come to an agreement, so hopefully when we come to the working session, we've all been in the duck vote, which is rubber stamp and make it short to go home. So there's no vote, so there will be discussion. So, any discussion? No discussion, so this is for y'all's record. It's just an administrative thing, we use the wrong word.
Mr. Mayor, I agree we're not voting this evening, but this being a resolution, not an ordinance, it's a housekeeping item. I would like to ask the council to put this on consent agenda for each meeting.
Everybody agree? That's the only vote or agreement. Let's take all 5 to agree, but one consent. Everybody in agreement? 2. Okay. Consent agenda. Okay, item number 2 will be presented by Bill Lincoln. This is an ordinance amending the code of ordinance of the city of Stockbridge says to add the offense of criminal trespass.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. This item has come before the council previously. As the council is aware, the current code has no provisions relating to the offense of criminal trespass. This item came to me through the municipal court clerk, who asked that that ordinance such as this be drafted. In her communications with me, she said she had spoken with the judge, and I went ahead and drafted this based upon the state provisions relating to criminal trespass. This ordinance would have a $500 threshold for property damage as it's currently drafted. And the council had asked me to do some research on jurisdictions and what type of ordinances other jurisdictions have. I diligently searched my office for my written records on that. I couldn't find them before coming here, but I do recall that I searched approximately 25 different jurisdictions here in the Atlanta metropolitan area, both cities and counties. The city of McDonough has an ordinance that's almost exactly like this one. City of Doraville has an ordinance that's very similar. There was one other city that had a somewhat similar ordinance, and at least one or two counties might have had similar ordinances. However, the vast majority of counties did not have criminal trespass ordinances, or they had ordinances which took upon the jurisdiction for their court of state courts. In other words, they said that they were adopting the jurisdiction of the superior courts or state courts in their courts to the extent that the law would allow that. So there's more than one way to go at this problem, but this was the way that the municipal court suggested to me, and so that's what I brought before the council.
Understood. Ladies and gentlemen, due to the recent severe vandalism incident that we had here in the city of Stockbridge, I've also gone ahead and asked council to draft a resolution with a $1,000 threshold rather than a $500 threshold. So that is also on the table for consideration as well.
You said there's a national vandalism.
You're familiar with it, sir?
You have to refresh my memory at 64. There's a lot of things I hear. What's the vandalism?
Stickers on windows, different stores.
Anyone else?
Mr. Mayor,
Thomas.
my basic concern about this ordinance is that this council, this city had an opportunity to be proactive as far as giving youth in this city an opportunity to get involved in various programs with the Boys and Girls Club. But we chose not to take that initiative. But we want to penalize young people for committing crimes after the fact. The Boys and the Girls Club will give these kids an opportunity to get involved, and hopefully they would not get involved with these types of trespassing activities. So I have a concern with this. I just feel that this council needs to be proactive. And let's try to work with our kids before they go down the road of destruction. Someone commented that this was an opportunity for the city to gather revenue. This is not the way this municipality should be about revenue for the city. Not to handcuff these kids, put them in jail, and then try to tax their parents with funds just to fill up the city's coffers. So I just have a problem with that, and I just feel that this council did not move in a proactive way as far as adopting the effort that was brought forward with the Boys and Girls Club. And again, this would have been an activity, this would have been an organization that we could have challenged these kids to get involved in some meaningful activities with the Boys and the Girls Club. So I just have a problem with trying to do something after these kids are in trouble.
I spoke with Anita. This came from the court system. This didn't start with us. There is an ordinance that we have that we can do criminal trespass against vehicles but not property. That's where it started. Currently, anytime you have a criminal trespass, it is sent down to state court in McDonough. and they receive those revenues from the punishment, not us. So our municipal court wanted us to keep it here. Secondly, the issue that Mr. Steiger was stating that we had recently was not children. The person on the videotape is not a youth, it is an adult. So with the process of having $1,000 instead of $500, maybe the adults will think twice before they decide they want to go on someone's property and damage it.
Mr. Thomas.
This ordinance will also affect young people.
Let me,
If I will, and Bill, I appreciate your research on it. I try to step back when we have a problem and analyze it a little bit and don't overreact. And so when you first got it, I had to say, this came from a clerk. It did not come from the judge. And to me, that's part of the problem. Clerk, there's a pecking order over there. So when Bill told me it was the courts, I went to the judge. He said he didn't request him, and he had been asked to review it, but he felt that he couldn't be reviewing something he's going to have to enforce. And then I asked the solicitor, and said she didn't ask for it. And I asked our city attorney, can you give me analysis of the local area? Has this been a problem? Stockbridge been there longer than I've been. Has criminal trespassing not been a problem in the past, for the last 90, 20, 100 years, or whatever? How have they dealt with it? Is it a training problem that maybe our police officers don't know how to write the ticket up right? But there's only a few incidents, as I understand, and how the other cities handle it, and I think from Dale's research shows the majority of cities don't have a criminal trespassing code, and it does go to state, and I'm one of those, but we want to punish. I'd rather be punished down at the state level, where they can really tear them up more than they can down here. But I would disagree with you, Ms. Bushman and Mr. Steinberg, if you want to jump at that $1,000 fine on there to increase our revenues. That's part of what the problem there is in the city. No court should be in the business to generate revenue. They should be in the business to generate compliance with the laws that are on the books. But in the act that you talk about, the stickers that I got, that's part of art. I think people, a lot of them are targeted or elected officials. I got stickered. I took half a cup of water, went out there and washed it off. Now, if they would have spray painted my mailbox, it would have been something else. But I've had my car also egged twice. So we're going to pass the check every time we see a kid with an egg walking down the road. We're going to turn around and snatch up him or his parents and fine him $1,000 because he's carrying an egg at Easter time down the road. He has to drop it, and I get shells in my yard, but my car has been egged twice. I just asked the council to turn around and think about what if we got 50% or more people coming and complaining and telling us this, but I think we got too personal and close on it. And with this act of vandalism, I was part of it, all of us was part of it there, but hey, I'm a public official. I take the heat, and I'll just go with it on there. And I just think it's not needed that importance. Mr. Alcon.
Mr. Lincoln, please clarify, because I was at one time under the thought process that the mayor suggested went through. If I'm incorrect, please correct me, but I thought that by raising the dollar value to 1,000 is actually making the offense more costly before it does become more egregious or more of a problem. The lower the dollar amount is hurting. So if a young man goes out and does something that is damaging to someone's property, and it is $1,000 or more, then we handle that in the city. If we do something that if we're saying that we put it at $250 or $500, there's a reduced statement here helping with that, because that's making it a higher threshold actually helps the smaller incidents.
Well, I would agree with you, except the ordinance is, I believe it's $500 or less. So you would violate this ordinance if you damage property. There are several ways that you could violate this ordinance, i.e. by going on someone's boat, someone's airplane, someone's property. But the property damage portion says that the property damage has to be $500 or less before you be guilty of the offense. I believe Councilman Steinberg's amendment would raise that so that if the damage was $1,000 or less, then you would be in violation of the ordinance. So you actually capture more potential offenses. I understand what you're saying, but it's worded kind of a little bit strangely.
Understood. This ordinance isn't directed at youth, it's directed at everybody. And it's put there so that people will think twice before they do something. And to Mr. Thomas's comment about it's just to raise revenue, I don't know where that comment came from. It never came from me and anyone else that I know, sir. So if you know who said it, I appreciate where it came from.
Well, we all got that email. That was Ms. Bushman that sent that email to all of us. You read the email. I got the copy of it. I didn't bring it to my
Mr. Mayor, that is correct, but why not be proactive for the city to give these kids something to utilize their time? Again, a proposal came to the city to do just that, but if you look at the city structure here in the city of Stockbridge, from a city standpoint, there are no youth-oriented programs. We're not doing anything for young people in the city of Stockbridge. So why not be proactive? Utilize the kids' time and not wait until they get into trouble. So I'm just saying, do you want to pay now or do you want to pay later? So why not give these kids something to do? Take them off the street. Be proactive as a city.
Well, ask the council to, when we get that monthly stat roll that we get from the police, and look on there and see how many criminal trespassing charges that we've had in the county. Is it a problem? It wasn't in the gang briefing that I can recall, and I heard it twice. So I'm going, and not that everybody's perfect, and we have these different, but I think it's probably more of a matter of educating our police on how, it's been working for, I'd say for 100 years, we've never had it. Now all of a sudden somebody gets a sticker on their mailbox and we get offended. We want to raise the damage. I don't appreciate people doing it, but that's all part of it. I don't appreciate it, like I said, the cars getting hit.
Mr. Mayor.
That's part of it. Ms. Bushman.
Let me restate, my email was what Ms. Anita Gumbro from the clerk's court was saying, is that because it's sent down to the state court, those are revenues that we could be capturing when a criminal trespass is issued. It wasn't that I was trying to say we need the money or we need to get the money into the city. I was just in that email telling you what she said.
I understand that, but I'm still, no matter who said it, I just don't think our courts need to be in the business of generating revenue. They fine and they punish, but that kind of statement is, I just don't think it's good. Mr. Steiner.
I would like to reiterate to Mr. Thomas's point that this is not addressed just to youth, it's addressed to everybody.
Yes. What's not addressed?
Mr. Thomas indicated that the resolution was directed to the youth, and this resolution is not directed to the youth, it's directed to everybody who participates in illegal activities.
Well, and it's not a resolution, it's an ordinance. So it's exactly correct. Our official corrector was here, but I don't see it. Okay, any more discussion? Good discussion. Item number 3, we all agreed that we're taking that off. And so now we're going to move down, y'all, the agenda to the new business. Y'all don't have it, we'll read them off. I'll read the first one here is an ordinance. At number A is an ordinance to amend the code of ordinances so as to clarify the city's ordinances related to the assessment and collection of sanitation fees.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to call on David Meyer to assist and walk us through this ordinance.
Okay.
Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is a change, it's actually an addition, to paragraph F to existing sanitation ordinance. Right now, the city actually places on the ad valorem tax notices issued by Henry County the fee assessments for sanitation in order to collect it. In the past, we've actually done this, and we've had a definition issue in our ordinance. This is actually a piece of housekeeping. In the past, they referenced customers without really defining what a customer is. The reality is that if you have a dwelling unit or improved space on your property, that is really a customer, meaning you have a house, that's a customer. We needed authority to address that because in the city of Stockbridge, we actually have multiple houses on a limited number of parcels. So we actually had to define legally what we were billing. There had been an issue, for instance, if someone had a garage apartment, did we have the legal authority if it was a detached garage apartment to invoice them? Under the current ordinance, you do not have that authority. So this is a piece of housekeeping that adds paragraph F to the existing ordinance, and it is before you. It's a very quick paragraph. For the record, in the audience, I'll read it. It says, for the purposes of assessment and collection of sanitation service charges, each dwelling, unit, or improved space shall be considered a separate sanitation customer or garbage and refuse customer if said space is heated, has plumbing, and has an entry-exit point to the exterior of the building according to the county tax records. Lastly, I will say that there's no material change to our current process, nor is this impacting on revenues in either a negative or positive way. We anticipate it to stay flat.
So it's not going to increase revenue. We're not going to go up or down. What are we?
The housekeeping piece of the ordinance gives us the authority to bill in the manner that we've been billing since November of 2009.
Which is, we've been billing them for heated space there.
We have been billing them based on the improved dwelling or units on the property.
Any more discussion? Okay, let's go. B is a resolution authorizing the mayor to work through the Georgia Municipal Association to hire a temporary city administrator during the time period prior to hiring a full-time administrator.
Yes, sir, Mr. Mayor. As we stated, I want to state for the record, I believe with the GMA training, we all are going to be, the majority of us are going to be attending, along with you're notifying us of some other personal obligations that you have outside of the city. We found it expeditious that we go ahead and try to bring in through the GMA, whether it's retired, experienced city manager, city administrator, someone who can help bridge the gap time-wise from the time from now until we get a full-time city administrator in place. And we were trying to be very, very selective in the language of the resolution. And I want to go on record that this is a temporary. This is an until we get. This is not a replacement. This is in no way, form, or fashion trying to compete, Mayor, of bringing forward a full-time. This is just a temporary recommendation. We're asking you to work with us through resolution to move on that.
Bill, funding for that. We've had this discussion and we've been back and forth with it, so y'all, if this is to authorize me to get a retired somebody temporary, where's the funding come from?
that's a good question. I think that a funding source has to be identified in your budget. Perhaps David Miller might be able to assist with that. But I think this is certainly a first step towards getting the council and mayor all together on the same page about what to do in the interim situation. And I don't know if David would be able to speak more about what might be available in the budget, but obviously there has to be money budgeted that could be properly used for this.
If you're asking how we would pay for an interim city manager position under the 2012 budget, you actually have a set amount that is already budgeted for a city administrator position. You also have a contingency line item for professional services. So you could simply, because you're not currently expending the city administrator salary, you could simply tap that within. We did that, for instance, recently in the court. We had a retirement in the court. They had brought in a temporary employee. We simply just took a divide of the permanent position, moved it to a temporary in the same budget category, and simply have now expended those resources. It was the same amount. There's no change to the budget. So as long as you can hire an interim city administrator at the same rate for which you have budgeted, which I believe is $100,000 in fiscal 2012, there's no implications to your budget.
Maybe I'll come back to y'all again. We've been around in this discussion. Would it be more appropriate then to call the person an executive, an administrator, or something? I thought, in fact, we can't use the word city administrator because that's what we're recruiting for, and that's one certain category. There's no, and to take that money is different, but to use the professional service or a consultant or whatever we call it, contingency, what line do you call that? There's some.
You have a line item in administration for professional services that's usually reserved not for consulting, but actually it's usually engineers, surveyors, and other professionals otherwise classified.
How much do we have in that?
There is, in that contingency, I believe it's $25,000 in that one. Again, the city administrator salary is actually the salary you would have. It's up to the board to figure out, the position. With the example of the municipal court that I gave, there was a receptionist on the books. It's just simply listed as temporary labor. So you simply are just taking a slice of the existing budgeted money for those services and then reallocating them in a line item in order to affect the services rendered. In this case, interim, whatever you so choose to call it.
But let me ask you, since I'm the one who's got to do this, GMA sends me Bubba Brown from Macon. He's retired. Says he can come up here for every day or for whatever. How do I determine what to pay him? On the scale of, I'm paying him what we have with other city administrators. I need some guidance when I'm talking to Bubba. How much is he going to get for driving up from Macon?
Correct, Mayor, and I think without the HR director, I'm just going to tell you what I think. But my best guess would be the pro rata salary that you would otherwise pay the city administrator. In other words, it would be, if you're employing a temporary person for a month, I believe you would pay them 1/12 of the city administrator's salary. So
But the current.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever Ray Gibson was getting, you could offer 1/12 of that for 30 days services.
What was his salary? 100,000.
Yes, Mr. Mayor. His current salary when he departed was $100,000. Certainly, council can affect a budget amendment if they so choose. Traditionally, I have actually first-hand experience with this. This is actually a common practice, more so in council manager form of government, where their charters basically say that you will hire an interim. So, for instance, when I was on council in the city of Avondale Estates, we obviously had to effect a interim city manager. In that case, there was not a local candidate, so at some point in some of these instances with cities, you actually are also paying them a per diem or housing if necessary. We're in the Metro Atlanta area, I suspect. I don't know what your talent pool is, but I would suspect there's retired or other MPAs in your area who the GMA can provide.
Okay. Any other questions, anybody? I'll get Bill, you can get with me and we'll speak to me in common terms. I understand them myself. Number C is a resolution authorizing a salary range for a full-time city administrator.
Mr. Mayor, if I could, this may be a step, Mr. Lucas, Mr. Mayor, that might feel the need of what we just spoke about in item D. The salary, like I said, is not being utilized at this time. And we are now, in the special call meeting, we move forward with the $25,000 issue that might be a mechanism as well. But on this is authorizing the salary for you, Mr. Mayor, to go out and to advertise and have discussion for the new city administrator. Council would like to give you the latitude of offering $100,000 to $125,000 for a candidate that is qualified for the dollar range. But we have not, until this resolution came forward, given you that dollar value and that tool to work with. So we want to offer that in this resolution, to offer that salary for that position. And certainly if you came back to us with a need for a supporting resolution in regards to a temporary, we'd be more than happy to entertain that too.
If you back up, I just saw that does the interim guy get any benefits? We're going to cover him by insurance or something like
It
that.
would be an outside freelance employee.
But like if he goes down to Public Works and they get him back home, we got to cover it, right? Let's see if we got to come in there when I'm there.
I think the answer to the question is he would not be covered by normal city benefits, for instance, pension or...
But under our other insurance, we'll do that.
It might be that covers him. In other words, the city would be covered for anything that he does, so that would probably work.
I'm just worried if jumping down, if he goes down a manhole or something, checks, gets hurt, who's going to be responsible?
And it may be that workers' comp applies also.
Thank you. That sounds like a decent one. D is a resolution amending the city's budget so as to transfer $12,000 from the general fund balance to the records, court, personnel service, salaries, and wages funds for cars to cover incurred payroll expenses to maintain the position of the part-time municipal court clerk on the city's payroll through December 31st, 2012. Marcus?
Mr. Mayor, we just a group effort. You're aware of the situation we have with a temporary employment. We have an agreement, an SDS agreement, which is a service delivery strategy agreement between the county, between Henry County and the city of Stockbridge. We also work in negotiations, and just so the community knows, very close to going to baseball arbitration in regards to our loss negotiations with the county to catch up. That's our local option sales tax. We have diligently worked with the county for 6 months, 5.5, 6 months. We have been unable to resolve and agree on how these dollars will be divided between the cities and the counties, between the cities and the county. And that brings us back to where we're at in this resolution. We have a situation where our IT and the county IT, when it comes to court services, ticketing, and that type of function, doesn't interact together. So we have a temporary lady that does all the different data entries and things that's needed for the court to facilitate ticketing and things of that nature. It just came forward that for 6 months for our part of the SDS, because in that SDS agreement, we as a city are supposed to do 6 months. The county is supposed to fund the other 6 months. And I was trying to prelude all of that with the counties in financial difficulty, as a lot of municipalities are. But like I said, we've got to keep our stuff moving forward. We can't not necessarily do this. I just want to give you a little bit of a background. The county is basically, in my opinion, armbarring the city by not wanting to pick up their second 6 months under our agreement of SDS our service delivery strategy. We have to do something so we can continue to move forward. But that's what this resolution is in regards to. Anyone think we're just we misplaced $12,000 or anything like that? This is something we thought was resolved in the SDS agreement with the county, but everybody's scratching their pennies right down there, expecting us to just pull this salary out of the air. And so that's what the language here is. So that's what's before the council consideration.
Mr. Steiner.
Mr. Miller, if you'll correct me please if I'm wrong, it's my understanding that the city court revenue is significantly down, and that's what I sent to you, Mayor Stewart, and every member of the council this morning to try to determine what the actual number is. My understanding is somewhere about minus 33, 34%. So my question is, if we're down in revenue, is there a real necessity to hire this person at all on a continuing basis or temporary basis?
Well, I think from what I understand, there's no police officers as well. You got some counting here. But I understand that the way that the system works, I mean, if we don't have that clerk there input, we're probably going to give even less percent. You've got to be there generating that stuff there. This is just, I think it's like Mark said, this is more of an admin struggle over the SDS and stuff. And she's a very, very needed person down there, and that's our dad will be behind us on a turnaround. From my understanding, our city clerks makes it hard for them, and somebody else is going to have to go do it. It's just more of a housekeeping thing to turn around and do it.
Understood. If we're down 33% revenue, how do we cover our salaries?
Maybe get a $1,000 fine for putting stickers on the gun. Again, Mr. Steinberg, courts aren't to be making revenue. You're looking to make revenue. I would like them to go broke, and all we do is compliant.
Mr. Stewart, I totally disagree with your statement. I'm talking about spending money on the city's behalf. This is budgetary control. We're minus 34% of revenue. Can this function not be covered by somebody else who exists in the department already?
He's a separate function, the way I understand. She's over at the police department. Our girls or ladies are over at the city clerk. And they can't get their data without her on there.
Mr. Mayor?
Yes, it's not.
Correct me, Bill, or even David, if I misstate here, but I believe that the original function for her was to expedite the process because we don't have that connectivity through the IT. It's not that Henry County cannot go, that they will not process our tickets and our court data, but it expedites the process. They, by law, still have to process our tickets at the county, but it will be done. So it's not like it won't be done, but it will slow the process down even more. But to Mr. Steinberg's point, we are slower, so I don't know exactly what the best solution here is. But I did want everyone to know that the process will continue. It would just be a little more slothful process.
Okay, now on that one, we'll move to Resolution E, was a resolution authorizing the city to contract with C.W. Matthews for road paving services for North Trail Park, Evergreen Terrace, and Medical Boulevard within the city. I think this is just housekeeping, isn't it, Bill?
Mr. Mayor, it is housekeeping to a certain extent. I'm going to have to defer on the specifics to Mr. Milliron, but generally, what you've got here is a contract for road work. It involves basically 3 separate portions. One is striping, one is repaving, and then there's a third portion, I don't recall what it is, but the contractor is concerned about the cost of the actual asphalt being put down, which is the vast majority of the money that we'd be paying for this work. And so this contract, I think, is being covered primarily by state funds. So what the contractor asked was that they be paid a certain amount for the striping and the other portion of the contract, which we had already agreed to, and then be paid on a per unit basis for the cost of the asphalt, so that they don't suffer from a large jump in the asphalt price. And considering that this is common practice in this area, that's the way I redrafted the documentation. Perhaps David has some more specifics that the council wants.
Mayor and Council, to sort of give you a visual picture, if you paint a house, painters come out, they give you an estimate to paint the house. They also put in some contingency that if there's some bad wood, that's going to be plus plus. In this case, when a paving crew comes out, and they bring all their equipment, they're going to do the paving in about 2 to 3 days flat. They're going to come in, get the job done, and get out. So what they actually did is, as everyone that participated in this RFP, they were to put forth a per ton unit price for how much asphalt that they estimated. So each of them bid on a per ton basis, but they then also took our RFP and the calculations of the road sizes, widths, lengths, etc., and estimated how much tonnage they would need in asphalt. This company, of course, estimated about 1,200 tons. Each time they bring out asphalt, there's a tonnage ticket weigh that is provided, so we actually know how much tonnage. But when they get out there in that 2 to 3 days with all the equipment, if they were to stop and have to take the equipment elsewhere and then come back for a change order, the cost would substantially go up. So they don't have a timetable for a change order. So what they've done is they've asked us to take a good faith estimate of approximately 1,200 tons, more or less. Meaning if it's less tonnage, we pay for less tonnage. If it's more, it's more. And that's going to be contingent on the condition of the road when we get out there. For instance, is there potholes? Is a section of the road wider or narrower? So they've done a good faith of an estimate, as all the bidders did. This particular is the LMIG contractor for the state. We're against the timetable to have it done. We vetted this with 3 other city governments. It is a universal standard of doing it. You will recall that back in April 9th meeting, you actually approved the contract. The problem is it was a flat rate cost for the entire project for about $95,000. And the contractor said, we're not going to disappoint you. We're not going to do this because if we get out there and we need, say, 1,300 tons, there's nothing in the agreement that says you're going to pay for it.
Okay, on the bottom, we've got the resolution to get it straight so they can continue. We got to get the electric going. This needs to be quicker. We lose the money, supposed. Any questions? Okay, resolution F. Authorizing the city to execute an amendment of the limited professional services agreement between the city and Total Tech so as to designate the client contact as the city treasurer. Who brought this one up?
Mr. Mayor, for me, there was some research and returning events with the appointments at the first of the year. Noted that Vanessa Holiday is still noted on our legal documents as the city's IT contact. So like I said, she's no longer appointed here in the city. Certainly going to update this resolution in our documents in the city. If you would, I could either read this or basically the synopsis is that resolution authorizes Total Tech Group so as to designate the client contact as the city treasurer, authorizing the mayor to sign all documents necessary to effectuate the resolution, authorizing the city clerk to sign and affix the city seal, and necessary repealing and inconsistent resolutions for effective date and for other purposes. Just wanted to bring that forward, sir, so we can get that updated.
Let me give you a little history on this. We've already had it in place. It's good. Appreciate you being here, Stuart, going to local tech tonight. Former city administrator, when that, what you just said was Ms. Vanessa Holmdale, was it, he wrote himself in there to designate him as the city administrator, as he was the point of contact, and we had no problem until here now that we've had to change the hand. And I've had numerous complaints and stuff. I was brought into it because I had employees feeling like their emails were being tapped, and I talked to Stuart about it, and I talked to the lawyers about it. How can I turn around and see? When I tried to step in, they're going, you can't do that because the city administrator's the POC. Okay. So that's the way it was, and Ray had that responsibility to do it. Well, I'm wondering if the council was fine with it at that point there, and he's not there, and now we don't have a city administrator. I can do that, and I realize you're saying the treasurer has that IT background, but what I would ask is to understand the treasurer, he might have that background, but we can hire him as an IT guy, and he's not qualified as the treasurer. And got to sign some of his treasury training here so we can get him up to minimal standards, and having to use him to do IT, I think I can easily handle it until we get this interim city guy in here or get the city administrator in here. Because it also, I'll be very frank with you, the employees are afraid of Mr. Milliron monitoring and all the other stuff going on, and that we need to leave him. He's not a boss or supervisor. He just is in the Treasury Department, and we need to leave it in the administrative side of it there. We have the city clerk. It was, Ms. Nicole couldn't turn around and do it. That's who took Vanessa's place. Or if they don't like that, then the city administrator stepped up, and I have no problem. I don't want to do it, that's for sure. I can't stipulate it. I have to call them all the time. I have a hard time turning my computer on and off. But I just don't think this is necessary here, and I really it's very evident by all the things that the treasurer's catching. We've got a lot of work. He needs to be concentrating on tightening up verbiage and contracts, and I prefer to keep his expertise, what little he has in finance, to let him build that instead of, we can bring him in for IT. That's Stuart's job to turn it. He's very capable of doing that.
Mr. Mayor,
Mr. Alcott.
Just as a conversation piece, I really find it disappointing that you continue to throw one of our employees under the bus of non-qualified. I certainly have no problem with you and I, or as council speaking private about the abilities of any particular individual. I find it very hard to sit there and let you, even whether it's Mr. Milliron or Public Works or any of the people who work with this city. I respect their effort that they put forth every day, and I think it's just a little bit unnecessary to continue to elaborate on Mr. Milliron's abilities or inabilities. If anything, you did say that he is qualified excessively, I added excessively, in the IT arena. So this is just a resolution. Certainly, I just want to get that out there that he is certainly qualified. And as you put it, talking the lingo or whatever that particular profession might be, this one actually happens to be IT through Total Tech. He is the most qualified, technically knowledgeable employee of the city. That's why the council wants to put his name forth in this, being a point of contact to help the city move forward. And I'd like to move forward on anybody that was not here when we purchased the updated software. Mr. Milliron was absolutely a catalyst in saving the city $65,000 because of his historical background and knowledge in IT. He also was able to bring forth a couple of other modules that, integrated with what we have future needs of here. So I think he's, certainly a reasonable point of contact for this position as far as why this council put him in as treasurer. I just respectfully ask that you not throw any of our staff or employees that put forth a good effort daily under the bus in front of our citizens.
Well, I can appreciate that, and I apologize if you take it that way, but I'm just stating the facts. When you look at Mr. Milliner's resume, he has no treasury, no finance experience. He has, as you, for the public record, the resolution you want to put in here says, whereas the city treasurer has extensive experience in the area of information technology that best suits to put him on it there. But then I ask you, this is an example here. The council got to understand, I'm on the administrative side, y'all on the legislative side. Why are you telling me how to manage my staff? Because let me turn around and do it, but you guys want to micromanage everybody that's on the stuff that you pick and put them there. And it was your pick to put them as the treasurer, but in the job description, I think we'd have to have a look at that there, Bill. We have to amend his job, because I don't think you can do what's not in your job description. And between the charts I've seen and the other stuff's on it there, I would challenge that there are people doing things that's not under their legal job descriptions to do in the city.
Mr. Mayor.
Mr. Allen.
Please do. If you look at the new org chart, it certainly has a tremendous amount of downline from the treasury position. Since I read the charter today in regards to this council's ability, this council appoints, and he also can delegate the duties to those appointments. So feel free to look at that. But like I said, I just wanted to bring this forward. I feel like he's a qualified IT point of contact, and I think we can go to the next item.
Well, it's again, that's there. I just don't think it's necessary. I prefer to concentrate and sit on the management of the financial stuff there. This is very, very little has to be done on here. Again, it's an example of y'all want to control everybody. So we'll move to item number G, which is, I can't transfer. I'm sorry, my writing's no better.
Well, I apologize for that, Mr. Mayor. Basically, the handwritten piece in this is because I wasn't sure of what the resolution was going to do, but in the special call meeting, the council voted through resolution to move forward with $25,000 to hire a professional, I would call headhunting firm to assist the mayor in hiring city administrator and city public works director. This resolution, Mr. Mayor, does nothing more than allow the money to be moved into the budget to allow for this money to be expended at your behest.
If I may, Mark, I'm going to back up to all those resolutions we've been talking about, but we have a consent. We can put them on consent agenda. If we can back up to item B, the resolution authorizing the mayor to work with GMA for the city administrator. Do you want to put that on the consent agenda?
If we can get consent, yes.
So that'll be on the consent agenda. The resolution approving a salary range for full-time city administrator. 320, but you don't want to put that on the consent agenda. And D is a resolution for the city's budget transfer $12,000 for the court. Hang on. We have a consent agenda on that. Okay, the resolution of the city contract to C.W. Matthews. We have a consent agenda on C.W. Matthews. And a resolution authorizing the city to execute the amendment for professional services appointing the city treasurer as the IT guy. special call meeting. All right, we got through A through G. Now we'll go to Henry County Planning and Zoning. Back on this schedule, we've got the item number 4, be presented by Jeremy Gilbert, Henry County. It's a rezoning RC 12-02. Minimum Christian Church in McDonough, Gloria requests a rezoning from M1 Light Manufacturing to O1 Office Institution for property located 1120 Village Business Parkway in land lot 2 of the 12th district. The property consists of 4.44 plus or minus acres and request for a church.
Good evening, Mayor and council members. The request that is before you is a rezoning request for property that's located within the city of Stockbridge. It is currently zoned M1, and the request is to rezone it to O&I for the purposes of the church. The applicant intends to utilize an existing vacant facility on 4.4 acres north of Eagles Landing Parkway. It's west of the railroad right-of-way as a church. The subject property takes access from Village Business Parkway, which is a dead-end road off of Eagles Landing Parkway. The property is zoned M1 and is surrounded by other M1 zonings. The property itself is a former frozen food distribution location. The City of Stockbridge's future land use map does designate the property for industrial uses. However, there's no city provisions that we could find that would prevent the applicant from requesting to change that future land use map. Churches and similar religious facilities are permitted use in the O&I zoning district, but they are not permitted in the M1 zoning district, even as a conditional use. Therefore, leading the applicant to request for this rezoning to O&I. Staff did recommend denial of the applicant's request due to its inconsistency with the future land use map, but at the zoning advisory board meeting on May the 10th, the zoning advisory board did recommend approval of the request to rezone the property. They also recommended that the City of Stockbridge review the Stockbridge City ordinances as it pertains to religious facilities within all zoning districts to either look at, is it something you would want as a conditional use in the industrial zoning districts, or is it something that you want only in the O&I or with a conditional use in commercial? I'll entertain any questions that you have.
Mr. Steiner.
Jeremy, if we rezone this now, this is a permanent rezoning, correct? It cannot return back to a former condition.
That is correct. If you rezone the property to O&I, it would be rezoned to O&I until such time another applicant came in and requested that zoning to go back to M1, or at the time that the city would do a city-initiated rezoning, but it would require board action again.
Is it permanent?
Yes.
Yes, it would be permanent. It's permanent. It can be changed. It could be another request to come in the event that the church was to vacate the premises and another manufacturing use wanted to come in, but they could rezone the property back to industrial.
Okay. Second question, please. Am I correct in saying that, I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. The city has no organized plan for church use in various zoning areas, and it's
Correct.
the county's recommendation that we come back and actually put together some sort of overall plan to look at church and their applications.
That is correct. From the standpoint of the City of Stockbridge's ordinance, currently churches are permitted use in the O&I zoning district only. They are allowed as conditional uses in residential zoning districts as well as the commercial zoning districts, but not in the industrial zoning districts. When the ordinance was amended, the adopted version of Henry County's ordinance that the city has adopted by reference at the time didn't have the M1 conditional uses. The county then amended theirs to allow it in M1, and then since we adopted the Unified Land Development Code, we also allowed it in M1 as a conditional use, so it can be looked at on a case-by-case basis.
And last question, please. It's my understanding that the building would be purchased by the church, conditioned on the rezoning that's before us.
That is my understanding from what the applicant has relayed to us as staff, is that they do have a contract to purchase the property, and it is contingent upon the rezoning. If the property is not rezoned, then they're not bound to have to purchase the property and not be able to utilize it.
We'll have to speak in a second, Ms. Bush. You want to speak on behalf? Give me your name for the record.
David Powers. I'm on staff at Momentum Christian Church. Yes, we actually are a church, a plant that was started in 2007. We are currently in Ghana in an industrial building, which is M1. We have conditional use. We leased that building for the first 3 years and purchased it in December of 2009. We've outgrown the building. We're out of seats and out of parking. But our vision has never been to build one big place where everybody is coming to. So our vision has always been multiple campuses. This would be an extension of our ministry. We're planning to purchase the building if it is rezoned. If it's not rezoned, we can't use it, so we have no reason to purchase it. That's a contingency in our contract. We are allowed to rezone it, we'll close on it. We will renovate it, and we will occupy it as a church. We won't be using it for daycare or anything like that. It'll be strictly for church services.
Thank you, Mr. President. Wish you well.
Is there anyone here to speak in favor of it? Is there anyone here to speak in not favor of it?
Mr. Mayor, I have a legal question on the transparent, clear on my position on my ability as a council person. I personally know David. He's actually I support their church. They came from the Todd Christian Church years ago. Their mission statement, what he just said, is factual. Multiple campuses, not one conglomerate, one huge worship center. So I'm a member, an active member at Todd Christian. The established church that he is now part of, like I said, they purchased, they occupied, and grown. They want him to do that here. I'm just, not trying to say I'm for or against at this moment. I'm just saying from a legal affiliation, because actually David and I did broker some work, I think some awning work for my own church. So there has been dollars transpiring between my church and his facilitation of that. I want to make sure that I stay completely clean and transparent of that relationship and how that affects me legally and as a council person.
I was on staff at United Christian Church at the time, not Momentum Christian Church.
I'll answer your question generally because the city has obviously ethics ordinances that apply, and I'd have to take a good hard look at them. So if you want to email me, the exact question, I'll be happy to look at it in depth. But generally, you always have the option to abstain in the vote. Ethically, usually you run into ethical problems when you are able to benefit financially from an item that you are voting on. And that's one of the rules you see over and over again in ethics ordinances. And so if that were the case, I would definitely recommend that you abstain from voting and announce why. But in this instance, I didn't hear that. And so perhaps if you gave me the full facts, I could look to make sure there was no problem. But, if there's any question, obviously, you can abstain.
Well, thank you. And I'll get that to you in writing, and you can just do due diligence and let me know before the hard work on it. Thank you.
And I intentionally not had any contact with him even regarding this. So I don't know if you know that he coming before tonight. So.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor. I just have one real quick question. The pictures in our book, I'm not familiar. I'm familiar with the business park area, but I've not been down in there.
Yes.
These pictures indicate to me, originally I was worried about if we changed the zoning that it would affect the industrial area, but these pictures indicate to me that there's really no warehouses close to.
There's nothing else on that street currently. We have a good relationship also with the owner of all the remaining property on that street. He is not opposed in any way at all to us being there or rezoning it. In addition to that, the entire front portion, what is shown on the future land use map as industrial, is already developed, and it's all commercial. including a daycare. So even though the future land use map shows it, that entire area being industrial, even as you get out there right now, it is not all industrial. And the railroad tracks actually form a better line of demarcation for what is industrial and what is commercial residential. Because what the land use map actually shows is that triangle of industrial directly abutting a large residential area, which is that Windsong subdivision. But currently, there's nothing else on that street. There's some property, I think, that is owned by the county for, I think it's the water department or something, has a chain area. And you do pass a storage facility, but it's not accessible actually from that road.
Thank you.
Anybody else? Thank you. Item 5 will be presented by Jeremy, Henry County rezoning RC 1109S to Ease Management Group of Stockbridge, Georgia, request rezoning from O&I Office Institution C2 General Commercial for property located at 107 Flippin Road and land lot 59 of the 12th District. The property consists of 1.5 acres, and the request for it is for a restaurant. Here.
Good evening again, Mayor and council members. The request that you have is a rezoning request. It is on Flippin Road there at 107. It's at the intersection of Flippin Road and Old Atlanta. The applicant intends to develop 1.519 plus or minus acres on that southwest corner for a restaurant. The property is currently developed with a frame structure that is vacant, and it has an associated non-residential parking lot. The property is currently zoned O&I, Office Institutional, and was a previous location of a professional office, massage therapy clinic, and for Christian ministries. Staff originally had advised the applicant that they needed C1 for the zoning district for a restaurant. However, the City of Stockbridge's zoning ordinance only allows freestanding restaurants in the C2. So it was sent back to the zoning advisory board to be reheard. The applicant requested C2 versus the C1. That's why this application is coming back. The property is designated on the future land use map for medium density residential. So the request is inconsistent with the future land use map. Planning staff did recommend denial, but have put 6 conditions that were recommended by our Department of Transportation in our proposal in the event the City Council opts to approve this request. But at the May 10th, 2012 Zoning Advisory Board meeting, the request was recommended for denial by the Zoning Advisory Board. Can I answer any questions that you have on this request?
I'm very familiar with this property. I think all of us are. You mentioned, you alluded to the long-term land use map. When was that last map drafted?
The future land use map was adopted in the City of Stockbridge. I believe the City of Stockbridge adopted the future land use map in 2008. The county adopted the final version for the county in 2009. So it was in 2008. The process for bringing forth the comprehensive plan, as well as that associated thing, began in about 2005 and ran through 2008 to be adopted by the city in 2008.
Thank you. Follow-up question. When was this property zoned O&I?
The property was zoned on March 13, 1995 by the Stockbridge City Council, and those zoning conditions were found in 1995.
It said 95?
1995, March the 13th.
Basically, if I may, Mr. Mayor, I'm going to vent a little here because of my familiarity with that location, it's frustrating that this particular council is going to be asked to make a difficult decision. The county or whomever participated in the probably picked up on this little parcel that is just intrusive of the residential district by literally its association to the road. So we have a long-term land use plan that reflects this particular parcel to be residential when indeed at the time it was being drafted, it was 09. So, I just want to go on record and let people understand the flow of how we came to this point. So I just want to go on record and make sure that we knew that the 09 was historically way before this request. A lot of other businesses have conducted business, but with that being on the record, it's still going to be up to this council to make a hard decision.
That is correct. With the future land use map designating the property for medium density residential, when that process was done by the consulting firm that was hired jointly as the county as well as all of the cities hired that consultant jointly. They worked out that process. There were some parcels in the county that were currently zoned for commercial and non-residential uses, and as they went through and evaluated and did public participation and received all of that information, it was determined some of those may not need to be commercial in the future. We have to look at also that the future land use map gives us a snapshot of what Henry County or the city of Stockbridge for their portion should look like in 2030. In 1995, when the property was rezoned to 09, it was more than likely against that future land use map at the time because there was no commercial in that area or office and institutional beyond what was along the frontage of Highway 42. So I believe during the time of the comprehensive plan, when all that was going through, that it was determined then that commercial wasn't appropriate. That is not to say that they can't change, just like with any other document, our zoning ordinances and our comp plans, they're there to be changed when opportunities are presented to move something forward, to be able to be proactive moving forward in development in your county. So you do have the mechanisms and stuff in place to amend that comp plan because it's something we only do every 10 years, and then we do it for a 30-year plan.
These 6 conditions, that's if they were to be approved.
That is correct. We put these conditions in our Department of Transportation. One of the engineers in that department had some recommendations that as far as access points, the site plan that was submitted to the Planning and Zoning Office as part of this request showed multiple access points, some of them current access points that don't meet site distance, that are too close to the intersections. And the Department of Transportation wanted to capture those comments in the event that the City Council chooses to approve the request, that some of those items can be addressed, not adding extra curb cuts when they're not necessarily needed, and potentially closing some that already do not meet site distance to make the health, safety, and welfare of the general public better.
Okay, is the applicant here? Thanks. You got to come up.
Mayor and Council, thank you for this opportunity. And I wanted to point out some things to you.
State your name, sir.
I'm sorry, my name is Vivian Smith.
Thank you.
Some of the things I wanted to point out to you is concerning this future map, land use map. Like he stated, it started in 2008 and finished in 2009. It's updated every 10 years. I learned more about that map, probably some of you guys know about it, because I did the history on it and what it was for. And then I determined that the map actually is in conflict with what your URA committees want to do. When I looked at the city of Stockbridge and your plans internally, it talks about mixed development. It talks about developing Stockbridge with residential and commercial sites combined. Now that's exactly what you're trying to do. Now, of course, when I went to that URA meeting and looked at the plans, they immediately told me they had no money to do any of that. But that's what their plans are to do. The other things I want to point out to you, like Mr. Gilbert just stated, you have an opportunity, a map is designed to have you look at it every 10 years. It is upgraded every 10 years. You have the opportunity to look at what opportunities are available to enhance that. They are bound by that map, so he has to make his recommendation based upon that map. It may be antiquated, it may be outdated, but the staff is bound to make their recommendation based upon that map only. You all are not. You're to look at Stockbridge and the needs of Stockbridge and determine what opportunities are good for Stockbridge and what things can be brought here to help the city grow and prosper. So you can make adjustment in spite of that map, whereas his staff cannot. Another thing I want to point out is that we did not haphazardly make a plan for that site. We went and sat down with the planning and zoning committee in the county. Mr. Stacy George is no longer there, but we sat at his table with him to talk about how can we frame this, how can we plan this to make it complement the area of Stockbridge. And we came up with the plan of working with the planning department. And after coming up with the plan, then the planning department came up with some conditions. We think this could happen. And if it does happen, here are the things, the conditions we want to be in place. We did not fight those conditions. You have them in front of you. Which says that we're here to work with the city, not battle with the city. Work with the people around us, not battle with them, and still give them the privacy that they need, not impose upon them, but complement the area with a very good business. Now, if we didn't care about it, we would not have gone to the table, sat down with the planning committee, took our architect with us to make sure we were doing something that's good for the city and that would complement the city. And that's exactly what we did. And after we finished, it was kind of funny because he said, after all the hard work we just did, only because of this map, this future land use map, we have to make a recommendation of denial. Before your administrator left, Mr. Gibson, had a long conversation with him. The same map, I told you I've done a lot of research on this map. Where it comes from, how it's used, who used it, how it's implemented, how it's changed, the whole gamut. Yes, I can give you a lesson on the frankly speaking. He said the same thing. I'm not trying to misquote him, it's not here. But he showed me how the map is used. Then he turned around and said, Vivian, the council has the right and has the ability to look at this map and say, it was antiquated, done in 2008, here's a good opportunity, we need to look at this, and we have the power to make adjustments. Now, one of the things I want you to consider is that we are going to be a good business partner there. No matter what, we're going to put a business there. What type, you may recollect, but we're going to put something there. We're going to be a good business partner in Stockbridge. We want to put a restaurant there. There's nothing like what we want to put here in Stockbridge. If you mention the word Blue Willow, 1 out of 2 people normally say, I've been there. 1 out of 2 people say, I've heard of it. 1 out of 2 people say, I'm going. Because everybody knows it. By the one thing, its name. We could do that for Stockbridge if you just let us do that. We could bring that same type of credibility right here, and that's what this city needs. Even though we are a small city, we are growing. And growing pains hurt. I know that. But if we work together, growing pains don't have to hurt as much. And yes, people who've been here a long time don't like to see it happen. I've been there too. But we have to realize we're looking for the whole city and how to help the city by bringing sales tax, jobs, county tax, opportunities for growth here. That's what we're doing. And I'm asking you to consider what we're doing for the city and make a good choice for Stockbridge. Thank you.
Is there anyone who speaks in favor of it, wants to speak? One. Is there anyone who is opposed and wants to speak? You know, would want to, I don't know if you want to come up here one at a time. You can speak except state your name into the record so they can hear you recorded.
Mildred Reed, I would like to speak in favor. I met Vivian, and I question how long it's been that we talked, and she shared the information about the property. And I'm very excited about it. She mentioned Blue Willow, but there was another place down here in City Green Manor, I think it's what it's called, that had a similar concept, and I like the idea, and I think it would be an excellent idea for Stockbridge.
Thank you. Not in favor? You in favor or nothing? Okay. We got all in favors? Let's get the favors in. I'm sorry.
My name is Mel Thomas. I'm in favor of the restaurant because it could be a compliment to the one on Lee Street in there. And then it's sort of like you're mentioning a mansion that used to be in Piedmont and Ponce de Leon. It's like that. It'll be a big restaurant with favorite all clientele. And there's one in Social Circle, similar to what she's planning to do. So it would favor all types of people, okay? I'm in favor of that.
Okay, last call for those in favor. Anybody else in favor? Okay, now not in favor.
Good evening. My name is Jocelyn Williams. Purchased a house back in 1992 here in Stockbridge at 190 Banks Drive. I'm in opposition to this particular restaurant. I'm sure the people who have spoken before me have spoken highly of it. I'm a teacher. I live in Stockbridge, but I work in Atlanta. I have to get up at 4:30 in the morning. Traffic is very, very difficult. The place where the young lady is building her restaurant, I'm against it because I go and get gas at the BP gas station at North Henry Boulevard and Flippin Road, trying to get out and be smiling and courteous to the drivers. They won't let me out, and a lot of times I spend 5 to 10 minutes just trying to get out. Coming home in the afternoon, there is a stop sign that I have to wait at. I'm not allowed to turn left, and I can only turn right because of the traffic congestion. I called Kenny Mars of the Department of Transportation, and just like she was excited, I said, well, maybe they're going to do a stop light in the area or widen the road. When you come around on Old Atlanta Road, you can't even see the cars. If I was coming out of the driveway of the restaurant, I wouldn't be able to see how to turn to get in traffic because what's in front of me is a barrier of trees. Once again, I know Stockbridge is growing and it needs a lot of things in this area, but I'm adamantly against this position of the restaurant because of the location and the traffic and being able to be trapped in traffic. As the gentleman had said, it's a beautiful restaurant. That means it's going to be packed, and then it will mess up the area of me trying to go to different places like Walmart or CVS to get medications and different things that I need. Thank you.
Next, not in favor. Don't be shy. Don't get your turn.
Good evening. My name is Milton Myers, and I live directly behind this property. We've lived there for the past 10 years, and it's a great, great neighborhood. And I love a good restaurant as much as anyone, but I just don't want one directly in my backyard as we face this directly. And I have several reasons. I'm against having a busy, noisy restaurant in my backyard facing my bedroom window, and if alcohol happens to be involved, that presents additional problems. Against having a busy parking lot in our backyard facing our bedroom window. Again, the traffic situation there is terrible, and it's been mentioned. And if there was a restaurant there, they would have to have a large green, one of those large green trash containers there, and I'm sure that would create smells and flies and roaches that we've already got enough of those to deal with. And this past year they cut down most of the trees already separating our two properties, which has raised visual and noise to disturbing levels whenever things are going over there, just like having it right in our backyard. My wife and I go to bed early, wake up early, and go to work, and I'm presently dealing with my own heart and health issues and don't need any further disturbances to deal with. So this, like I said, I love a good restaurant as much as anyone, but I just don't want to have one directly in my backyard. And I just wish to keep the neighborhood as peaceful as it is right now. Thank you.
You said, you live there on that Iron Horse?
Yeah.
That cul-de-sac? You're in that cul-de-sac right behind you there?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Next, I'm in favor.
My name is Mike Maddox, and I live at 111 Clifton Road, which is directly to the left of the property we're talking about. I've been living there since 1981 when I got out of the military. My wife and I and family, we saw a small community. We've been supportive of this community, this city the whole time. Loved everything about it. Loved the way we're growing. But this one particular instance here, we're opposed to it, very much so. And I have several reasons. Some have already been mentioned. If you'll bear with me, I'll run through them quickly. We have the existing drive that's already from Old Atlanta, and we have one that's on Clifton Road. They're proposing to put a new one in between my house and their property, in between a driveway and farm. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe they stated 52-car parking lot. That's too much traffic living next to me, my opinion, and my family. My daughter.
Sorry, I'm going to worry.
So noise is a large factor, not only during the daytime, but at nighttime. When my understanding was, when this was rezoned to O&I, my understanding was that the daytime business and the weekend business. I had gotten with Jordan Stacy, who was checking in on that for me, and apparently there was nothing in the minutes about that. Unfortunately, at the time, I was naive and I didn't actually go to the meetings and find out these things. I was under the assumption the person that I was dealing with would take care of that and have these things issued. So that cannot be changed at this point in time. I understand that. So I'm willing to live with whatever they can do with the O&I zoning. But if we change to a C2 zone, there's a lot of new things that come into play. The nighttime business is a big concern of mine because I have a special needs child who lives with me, and her bedroom is directly adjacent to this property. So privacy is an issue. I brought this up at the Henry County level meeting, which I went to twice. And I asked about alcohol sales. Are we going to have alcohol sales? To this point, do not have an exact answer on that. But if we do have alcohol sales at this establishment, that is a big concern of mine. The other concern that I had was hours of operation, which I still do not have at this point in time. If we have hours of operation, what are they going to be? And if we have alcohol sales, if we stay open late, we all know that alcohol, sometimes folks get a little bit loud. That's something I, as a resident of the common city of Stockbridge, did not intend to be part of. Okay. So privacy. Traffic on Clifton Road, everybody knows. It's terrible. I live there, I know. We can't even make a left-hand turn out the driveways between the hours of 3 to 7 o'clock, even 8 o'clock at night. So traffic is a big concern. I think this will just add security with this parking lot, this drive-through that they're proposing to build. To me, it would just be a cut through from Old Atlanta over to Clifton Road. That's a concern of mine as a neighbor in this particular area. My quality of life for my family is a concern for me. We spend a lot of time out there in the back. With the business over there, as large as they're proposing to put in there, and with the large parking lot, people just totally ruin it. Dumpster had been mentioned. I currently have that dumpster sitting right across my back off. Right when I walk off my deck there, I see a dumpster looking. Mrs. Vivian has said she's willing to work with the neighborhood. She has never once come talk to anybody in the neighborhood that I'm aware of. And I speak strictly for myself, but I know most of the neighbors and of course that opinion. So one of my questions is, if she's willing to work with the neighborhood, come she hasn't talked to me? That's the question I have. If we do change the rezoning, if we know restaurants there, and I'm not saying this one will or will not, if it was to come about. Once the rezoning has been done, if I'm correct in understanding this, that leaves that property with a vast amount of things that could be done to include another gas station. And that's another thing I would not like gas in my house. Correct me if I'm wrong with that. That's just my understanding. That pretty much covers my main concern about it, and I would appreciate the council's consideration when they make a vote on this. I'm glad to answer any questions. Any of you are willing to or would like to see the property, come right out and see it any time. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Good evening. I'm Reggie Balfour. I live at 108 Cleveland Road. Which is almost directly across from the property the two biggest management is wanting to put in a restaurant. My concern, one, is if it's a restaurant, if it fails, then what will be there? She frequently alluded to the reform. Restaurants don't pay very good salaries. If we have constant turnover in employees, there again, that's going to be more traffic than coming in and going out. Not just the customers. I understand they live in another city in the county. I wonder if they would want, or any of you would want for business in your restaurant. And especially a driveway coming in almost opposite from your driveway. We have a nice sit-down restaurant in McDonald's Creek. It didn't last 2 or 3 years. I just don't think that is a proper place for a restaurant. Not because it's on in front of my house, but that has been a quiet residential street since Stockbridge was unseated. Why would anybody want to disrupt citizens' residences on the happy, peaceful street? The only thing that we don't like is the traffic. But that's everywhere. We just have to go in and there. But why ask for more? Especially at night time. Okay. And like I said, old folks have lived there for quite some time. We were happy. We've been on a peaceful street. We don't want a restaurant in our front door. I mentioned the income, and as far as taxes, I don't know what kind of exemptions they would get, but the residential city of Stockbridge to decide. And you might have hit on the private driveway. Another one being cut, one driveway going in there off Fifth Road. There's another driveway coming in there off of Old Ninth Road, going right up to the back of the property, which would be ideal for coming in, and then use the other for going out. And I'm not even planning and zoning, I'm not in her planning of house for reconstruction being done. At one time, they was proposing to build an extension on the side of the house, although they indicated what a beautiful house and structure was. And if they go in there and build a big room out on the side of that house, that's certainly not going to improve the looks of it, and it's far from being blue willow in social circles. Even the house is in as it is now. And there is no other track, no other business on Fifth Road. The big thief and the telephone company, they're on down by the block from us, and that doesn't increase any traffic. It's just general traffic coming from all directions. And then there'll be the lights at night time. And so notice when that subdivision was built back in about 1960s, they were small houses. Now the house that she's referring to, it was there for many, many years. A big house. It sits up big, got lots of steps going up to the front. But anyway, it's just going to be too much traffic, it's going to be too much noise, and it's going to be too much lights flashing in and out of my front of my house. there's a big building up there on 42 Highway, which is Ryan's, it's neat. It's empty. I'm sure some of them might be really bad. Anyway, that's about covers that I've been trying presentation for tonight. But people, you are human flesh and blood, just as we are from different roads. I really want you to search your heart and say, when I go back and I'm front door, regardless of taxes, money's not everything. How long has the city of Stockbridge been here that it survived without one more restaurant or one more business? And I don't think she'll ever be allowed to put a goat farm in the backyard, which has been mentioned, or a trade farm. But now, you know, we can be threatened in various ways, and I don't think that has a trait. I'm far from it. And it's been a nice, quiet business over there for all these years. I just wish they could see to continue as such and keep us at neighborhood. Thank you for your time and your attention. And may God bless each and every one of us, everybody here this night. Thank you all.
Thank you. Do we have someone else? Was there some more who wanted to speak? Going twice. Going thrice. Okay. Thank you. The next time, resolutions, agreements, and orders, really did that, but on there. For the All-Star, I forgot to item number 6 on the printed one there was presented by Belinda Gears, Henry Community Garden presentation. He asked that would be removed here and that you were maybe for that we have to remove that from the agenda. So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Number 7 is presented by Don Lamp, Boys and Girls Club, the use of the old fire station as Boys and Girls location.
Mayor, City Council, I believe Chief Moore has actually been here before you guys before and talked some about why the Boys and Girls Club steering committee thought that Stockbridge would be the appropriate venue for us to start here in the county. I don't want to beat the dead horse, but you guys know that most of you know that I teach at Catholic High School across the field. And kids that are not engaged in school's not in session, after school, typically will find things to occupy their times, and sometimes are not the best things. So one of the things that we as the steering committee for the Girls Club is based on what we've seen with the way people occupy their time when it's not in something structured and wholesome, is that bad things happen. Some of our students end up getting, we don't use the common the best ways. So that being the case, we wanted to come back to you and say, we have our steering committee, we talked with the national organization, they've got on board with us, and they want to know, okay, where are you going to do this? You know Stockbridge is in need. Now, where in Stockbridge are you going to serve these youth? And what we propose to the City Council is that the fire station that is going to be vacant as soon as the bridge is built and moved into their new digs, that we be allowed to lease that property from the city for 5 years at $1 a year lease. And we would further propose that the city pay utilities on that property as they have been That's our proposal, and I'll be happy to accept any questions.
Anybody have any questions? You say.
Mr. Mayor, I'd just like to add that the former city administrator was working with us in this effort. He brought this to the board and the Bureau of the Steering Committee attention for the use of this building. And Mr. Dunlap with that organization is just coming forward with that based on the recommendations of Mr. Gibson.
All right, thank you very much. Thanks for your time. Next, we have council discussion items. The IT internet. There's anything on here. This is I talked with this is more recommended from Jack Bill Hills. We need to clarify the internet usage, and that there is no policy, nothing explaining on there. That needs to be more defined about the usage of personnel. That there are some set of expound on what we need to do to talk about this to make sure it's covered.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. As I understand it, the issue is making employees aware that the city has certain restrictions on their ability to use the internet and to use email that needs to be restricted to just city business, and that they have no privacy expectations in the use of city equipment. And I thought I had drafted or done a policy along those lines for the city, and maybe I didn't try to recall, but I may have spoken with Ray or someone on that. I know Jack's had some conversations also. But it would not be a problem for us to draft a policy like that for the city to put in place in the personnel manual, so that employees know when they're granted the use of city IT equipment that is to be used for a city purpose, and that they can't expect to have private usage that the city can't discover. And that's important should any claims be filed in the future by employees that they have that knowledge up front. So I believe that's the basic issue, and again, we'd be happy to work on that sort of policy for the city.
Any guys more? We don't have a policy. You said we don't have a policy now.
I know the city doesn't have one that's actually part of the manual. I know the city's also redrafting its personnel policy manual, and we have a copy of the new draft that does contain these provisions. So if we were to pass that new policy manual and enact it, that would satisfy this issue. The question is whether or not the city wants to do something now in the interim. Policy manual, something we could do in 2-3 weeks. We get to go ahead from Dawn in the city.
We spell that in there. Where we stand on getting that personnel policy.
I have the manual, the proposed manual. I know that it has been drafted by Mr. Harry Owens, who I think is the outside consultant. I know Mr. Owens. He's very good. Worked with him for a long time in the past in Gwinnett County. And what we need to do at this point is to review it from a legal perspective to make sure that legally it lines up. And I would have to defer to Jack because I know he may have engaged in some discussions with Ray about how we were to go about doing that. And so I'm going to Brett myself a reminder to touch base with him because we can move forward with it at any time. And I would assume it would take no more than 2-3 weeks for us to review it and give it a rubber stamp.
Okay. Any other questions?
Mr. Mr. Mayor, I concur with what council is saying, and the new policy would solve this problem. I think I guess our council's step back and let the new city administrator come in and maybe be a part of that as well. But I don't want to slow down on saying, say stop any of the procedures, but certainly I think our personnel policy, any of those changes, we need to involve our future city administrator to bring that forward as well.
One that's in the personnel policy, what's his name again? I remember who it was. Jack.
The new version?
They got it looked at. That's the standard. It's basically standard across the states. Generally looked at.
Yeah, his name's Harry Owens. He's been the personnel director for the State Department of Transportation, Athens, Clark County, Gwinnett County, and he's very, very experienced.
He's tough. Let's have taken that. Okay, next item is communication between city attorney staff and elected officials. And I've been asking this, and Jack told me we need to bring this up. Mark, remember when we went, I think it was our first class with, our law class with John Dickerson. We came back from there, and Mr. Dickerson's recommendation was the way he said he did his. I realize each city does theirs differently. But the communications, for example, anybody that contacts the city attorney does not work for any individual council member or staff member. He works for the city. Any communications with the, when he said he did, and I couldn't want to correct me wrong, but anybody that communicated with him, he would turn around and broadcast or email it to all the others. I'm talking to Joe about all this. Whatever his reply back, he shotgunned it all back to them the way I understood it to be at that time. To keep everybody a piece of what's going on. The general feeling is, or my feeling has been that I'm always the last to know, and I'm finding out things that the attorneys are doing, but the mayor seems to be the last one to know. And that's why I was asking for clarification. They all saying we need a policy on it here. I mean, I have no problem with an individual council member talking to them about whatever that you want to talk about. But like I said, once it becomes public, or once you start another discussion with another council member, and to me there's not a process to that right there. Now you've got two, now you've got three, because I'm finding there's, and I think I don't take the words of your mouth, Mr. Summers, but I think you find the frustration of it there as well. Sometimes he's the last one to know, and when I've asked you, when you wrote something up, and I know you felt bad, I've asked him, who gave this to you to write up? Well, I can't tell you. Why can't you tell me who? Well, I have to call and ask to get their permission to let me talk with you about it. And I just think that's wrong. In my opinion, y'all might not, you can disagree with me on there, but we're trying to keep open and transparency. That's what we ran on and said that we wanted to do. I have no problem with anybody knowing when I talk about city business, you can sit right there. Now, there's certain things, Bill, you correct me, personnel or HIPAA stuff or something like that, those things have got to be kept private for whatever, but generally me, the majority of what we talk about in here, that we get legal advice from, it should be all of us, so we're not, per se, we're all finding out after we get 2, 3, 4 people, and we find about it. The attorney knows, 4 people will know, or council members will know, or 3 council members will know. And I just think it's wrong. We all need to be sharing the same thing, and not we put them on the hot spot because I got to get their permission, and whether or not you can get a hold of it, you get an email or whatever. So I throw that up for y'all's discussion. Nobody has no feelings on it. Y'all have better agree with them to keep the way it is. Stay private.
So my only comment is that city attorney to represent the mayor and the total council.
And that's why I said that it's playing a game to me. When you turn around, we can't all talk together. When you're talking to the attorney, he's providing their opinion, and you tell me we get an 80–90% talking with the attorney, but you don't find out till we get here or they down the road. I just think that's unprofessional.
Mr. Mayor, I don't know what you're talking about. And I don't understand what you're talking about. I don't even know why we're bringing this forth. I haven't been involved in anything. I don't know what you're speaking of.
Okay, let me try it again.
Give me an example. I mean, I don't understand.
Okay, I'll give you an example. But listen, you talk to the attorney about whatever you want to talk about the stickers, let's say. Y'all feel concerned about stickers. So you talk to them about stickers, and he gives you that ruling or whatever. And then you go on, he says you can have an ordinance or not an ordinance or whatever you want. And then you go, okay, but to me, that's fine with y'all. But when you start, then you go to Mr. Steinberg going, we need an ordinance for a sticker. And I've talked to the attorney, and he says, yep, we can make it $1,000 fine, or whatever. Now, to me, that's now starting to get, that's not a private conversation. It's now the council, that's advising, he's advising two council members, that's 40% of the council. And then you go get a third person to agree. That's 60% of the council talking to the city attorney, and 40% is left out. Why can't we all, why are we scared to talk to each other? You can have all the private conversations with the attorney that you want, but to me, once we go out, we need to start talking to each other, because that's why we look like we do, like we're up here and we're all surprising each other. Whoa, when did you find out about that? Or when did you, the attorney can't tell me. He's not sending anything out. Let me know. We're up here. I just think it's bad business. You understand that?
Let me correct you on one thing, though. That ordinance that you're talking about came from the court. It had nothing to do with us. It was discussed at the Public Safety Committee meeting. The open public is there. So there's not transparency. So that's a poor example because it went through the appropriate channels.
Okay, Ms. Bushman, you're trying to read it to her.
No.
Whether it came from, let's say it was not at no committee meeting. You decided to come up with something on your own. You want a resolution for me to pick up garbage, for us to pick up garbage somewhere. Or you want any conversation you have with him is more than welcome. But when you start bringing in more input, particularly the elected officials, I think we need to be more transparent in what we're talking about. So we can at least, you can have your differences of opinion on it there. But I just think we've been isolated too much. I sat up here at the Citizens Club. I'm the last of them. Mr. Thomas is with there, and we go, well, we sent that to you at 4 o'clock or 5 o'clock on Friday. Well, how long have y'all been working on this? Why can't we share information? Difference of opinion is what America's all about. But share information. You like ice cream? I don't. You want chocolate? They want. But share the information. Don't sit there on it and close hold it on it. And I just think we need a lot of directions that we need to agree how we're going to share it, how we're going to use the city attorney. Because I think there's a challenge on it. He don't work for individuals. He works for everyone that's non-city. And just take it a step further. For all the employees, I don't think they need direct access to the city attorney. How do you like the ordinance you're talking about? When I was talking to Ray, he got ambushed on that. And he said he knew nothing. It was the same thing. Here we have a city clerk. The clerk, not the judge, not the solicitor, on her own decided she wanted to see about an ordinance, called them. Ray told me he didn't know that he got ambushed up here as well. And so here we are, we've got the city administrator, we've got the mayor, and I think we had a council member got ambushed by a staff talking directly and having an ordinance done and whatever. We appreciate your comments, staff. But there's the city administrator, and I think that's what John Dickerson said, ought to be one, not that he doesn't get a review, but that the city administrator say, hey, I got this, and I'm going to send it to the attorneys, and then he turns around and tells, once that's turned around and done, but when you break that 1-2 with the attorney. I think it needs to be talked to everybody, shared with everybody. Mr. Allen.
Here again, we've expounded for a long time on an item that I'm uncomfortable with, and that Mr. Thomas, please help me with this. Other than the January 9th meeting, I have called Mr. Thomas. I have asked to meet with him. I said, would you be anytime, any place, anywhere. I have tried through emails. I have tried to include him to get his input, his thoughts on any issue that I want to talk about. So far, it hasn't been reciprocated. So my effort, is being put forth with no fruit, and I know that's the same fact from the other council members as far as trying to reach out and communicate. But, Mr. Mayor, for you to say that we're the only one that talked to the attorney, and don't tell us what is being discussed with the attorney is not true. Or with your communicating with the citizens or doing any kind of thing of that nature. I think we all have to have some level of privacy and relationship with our constituencies, with different people, of staff. So if you're going to sit there and really truly tell me that you've never written an email to the attorney that did not copy me or the council members after it became a two-party issue, then I would love to bring forth about a handful of them at the next meeting, if that's going to be the issue here. So I would like to respectfully ask that we stop playing smoke and mirrors here. Everybody on this council is entitled to legal guidance, and we can interpret that legal guidance to the best of our ability and move forward with an ordinance or a resolution. Whether the council agrees with it or disagrees with it is not arbitrary to him or to you or anyone else. It's just our ability as elected officials to ask for legal guidance. So, as far as down staff or something like that, I don't really know the litigation behind that, but there's nobody up here that is trying to play smoke and mirrors. Anytime, you ask me to sit down, I've always been available to sit down with you. Same thing, I offer myself to Mr. Thomas, and I know Richard, Robin, and Harold have been very available. So I just don't think that this statement of we have to, show these emails and conversation pieces, let's just be more realistic. All parties sitting at this dais have practiced exactly what you said, and there's nothing illegal going on. There's nothing wrong with us trying to do our job as council.
Mr. Mayor, Mr. Allen, yes, you and I have had conversations. You have called, I've called, we've talked. But there have been some occasions where it was obvious that there had been conversations with other council members and that I was left out. Yes, it is true that you tried to reach me on Friday at 4 o'clock with an item that was going to be discussed on Monday. And I've indicated to you that, you can just call me. I'm not one to sit at the computer and look at emails on the weekend because I interact with my church, with other organizations, and I just don't sit at the computer. But I have a problem with, and I'm not going to drag this out, but you and I have talked about this, but there have been occasions where, certain things was obvious that there have been discussions and I was left out. But again, we've talked about this, so I'm not going to reiterate that, but I do just want to respond to the comments that you just made.
Mark, we don't want to round it out, but I'll just give an example here tonight. Here he goes, there's some resolutions that y'all have come up with about things for the mayor to do or return, but y'all never even talked to the mayor. This surprised me. And this is good, but it's surprising me. And for drafting this stuff up, why am I not included in the conversation? Particularly, Mayor, you wrote, because you lived there. Well, you told me here that you didn't think, well, I knew you wasn't opposed to it. I'm just, if you include me, and we talked about, we might not be wasting this time to draft says that anything is done illegal. But you can do stuff legally, but there's still, you have a moral and ethical thing, and I think it's just, I'm for openness, and I just like to, we come around and do that. It's there it was, the resolutions here tonight, 2 or 3 of them here, I had not seen before, that came up here, wasn't made aware of it. And who else was? I don't know. But the attorney was that he got it drafted up there. Okay, any more discussion?
Lastly, Mr. Mayor, I did not have advanced information on this resolution. For example, the organizational chart. It was obvious that some thought went into that, some discussion went into that with other council members. It was only presented to me here at a council meeting. So I did not have opportunity to even have input into that.
Okay. Next item we should have on here, the Clarence Boone for use of pavilion for the Heritage Trail 5K mud run. Sorry for the time here.
Mr. Mayor, Councilman Bush, good evening. I come before you today to talk to you about the Stockbridge Heritage Trail 5K mud run, scheduled for September 15, 2012. It was about 5 months that I was here before all of you, and I was given some great advice by Mr. Alcon, Mr. Steinberg, Mr. Bushman, in terms of how we could conduct a 5K, MLK run, walk, and bike. Which I believe we all know was a great success. It brought a lot of notoriety to the city. It brought a lot of unity towards the community. The 6 churches that were involved were very closely together, and they had an opportunity to be able to give the city some good press. I'd like to share some information with you regarding this. Once again, the Stockbridge Heritage Trail organization proposes to conduct a 5K mudder run. Why mudder run? That's the new trend right now. Everyone has 5Ks. They have fast walks, they have things of this sort. But the new trend that everybody's going toward is a mudder run. Since we've had our last event, the conversation between participants is, can we do something different? And we did some research among the committee, and we determined that this was the most impactful and easiest event to put on with the resources that we had available. The date that we're looking at is the 15th of September 2012, between 9 o'clock in the morning and 12 o'clock in the afternoon. We'll begin at Memorial Park, go down Reeves Creek Trail until it dead ends. The return route is the participants get in Reeves Creek and run back under Ty Street, and on down to Rock Quarry Road. Once they get to Rock Quarry Road, they take a left and run along the shoulder of the road to the Georgia Power Line access gate and return back to Memorial Park. The reason for this is the raised funds for the Stockbridge Heritage Trail Memorial Markers. We'd like to install throughout the city, with your approval, to recognize some of the historical sites and for other future projects as well. We plan to do this through a partnership with Get Set Growth, who we involved ourselves with last time. A professional race organization which will be responsible for the overall organization, like they did in the MLK 5K walk and run in January of this year. What we need from the city is for you to allow us to use Memorial Park, Reeves Creek Trail, and the creek itself. Second, authorize us to use the first pavilion in Memorial Park. Third is authorize us to use the restroom facilities. Fourth, set up the water washdown area in the lawn near the first pavilion for the participants to clean on. 5, have the police department provide traffic control. 6, authorize other vendors to put booths in Memorial Park. Energy drinks, things normally associated with the run. And finally, to have a parking employee on duty the entire time of the event. The purpose of this is, once again, when I came before you last time, this was our first opportunity to do this. Mr. Alacon, I think you were the one that gave me the advice that we needed to get with the city administrator. We didn't really give anybody a lot of time in terms of the opportunity to be able to plan for this accordingly. We're looking at more than 90 days out. And we believe that we can get this, we can have another first-class event, even better than the event that we had last time, that will once again promote the city, will once again bring everyone involved. And to other comments that I've heard over the course of the meeting is to bring a positive notoriety to the city of Stockbridge. We learned a lot of things, as I said back in January. I thank you for your input. I thank you, Mr. Steinberg, for your input. Mrs. Bushman, I thank you for your input as well. Had it not been for that, we would not have been successful. I know that we received a lot of accolades, I believe. In fact, Mr. Steinberg, you sent me an email that afternoon. Thank you for what we've done. Once again, we are just one of the good citizens for the city of Stockbridge. We want to bring good things and good positive notoriety to the city. I offer myself for any questions that you have. Oh, by the way, we have submitted the paperwork in May. My understanding is that it has not been, it's been completed, but it's tabled. It has not been approved as of yet. So I'll be following up with that to find out what the whole thing is. Again, I offer myself any questions.
Paperwork, I didn't catch that.
Well,
you submitted some paperwork.
The ability to use perfect.
The request.
Yeah, the request. Right.
Mr. Goldman, thank you for that. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize Mrs. Reed and Pastor Johnson, who are also on this committee. This request originally came through the Community Relations Committee meeting. Mrs. Reed made his presentation. I think it came forward to the body. I would suggest, and I don't know, I know there are some copies of those requests. I don't know if the council member need those to be able to see that, but if you indicated that those requests are maybe Nicole, do you have a copy of those requests? Okay, so I think we may need to bring that forward. So at the council meeting, the council members can actually see those requests and be able to render a decision or vote at that time. Would that be a vote?
In fact, if I recall correctly from I believe from Mr. Elcott, I believe we were told as long as we submitted the permit for use, there was not a need for a vote. We just want to make sure as good citizens of the community, we make sure the council is aware. I believe that from our last understanding is as long as the permits were filed timely, it would not be a problem. Once again, just as a reminder, we had Yetsec Groves, a professional organization that puts it on. They handle every aspect of it. The inconvenience of the citizens was minimal as they monitor the traffic crossing East Atlanta Road. They secured pacers through the law enforcement through that aspect. So the effect of the city was minimal in terms of being inconvenienced.
Understood. Thanks so much for bringing this before us. It's an exciting opportunity for us here at the city. I just want to check on one thing, and I'm just absolutely not sure about it, and that is you're requesting free use of the pavilion.
We are requesting free use of the pavilion, Mr. Steinberg, and thank you for asking that question. When we had the last one, the information we received was that if the city knew about it in a much more advanced notice, that the city would support us in this effort or partner with us on this. What we're asking for are the 7 components that we need for the city. The pavilion and opening the restaurants is probably the greatest expense. We're asking in good faith that the city allows us to use that as the partners within this aspect. I hope I have any questions.
Yes, ma'am. May I just continue for a second?
Oh, yes, sir.
The only thing I want to make sure, Clarence, is that it doesn't run afoul of any city regulation. Because I think there has to be a minimum charge. I'm not sure there's an exemption allowed on a rental facility. And I would look to the attorney for clarification on that.
Mr. Steinberg, if I may, I have in front of me 7.08.020 reservations and fee for our public parks under C. And I think this falls into your prior plan, which you're doing a great job of, is charity. There can be a waiver of fees if qualified. It says charitable and nonprofit organizations, schools, daycare centers are eligible for a waiver of rental fees, subject to sufficient documentation of said their entities. So, I mean, it sounds like you guys are 501c3 or have not, I don't know. But if you're not a 501c3, nonprofit, school, daycare, that's about the only waiver that our ordinance now allows us to give free rental to it. And the thing too is, even if you qualified, I would say if a family or a family reunion has already, paid for that rental, we certainly couldn't remove them from that rental. But I just, we have plenty of time, I think, to move on that. But that is what I knew that was one of your requests, and that's why I did some research on that.
What is the rental fee?
It says right here, $50 a day, daylight to dusk, $35 for additional 2-hour blocks, and then $35 for afternoon blocks from 3 p.m. to dusk.
I tell you what I'll do. If you guys are asking, I'll pay your fee for you, so we don't have to go through the paperwork. What you're asking for is what somebody, if you can have a pavilion.
Right, that's correct.
I'll donate. If the dates and time are available. So we have to go into all that legal needs stuff, paperwork, all that. Yes, I think it's a good purpose. It's a good community.
That would work.
Okay. Mr. Thomas.
So, Mr. Boone, that being the case, you just have to go down and stay at the homeland and reserve it before anyone else to do it.
We'll make sure that they're listening.
And I think you don't even have, there's a park employee, because I was out there this weekend, there's a park employee on all the time, 7 days a week. So you don't have to, he can just, you need to be over there with everybody, but there's one there, so that eliminates the employee portion. Water, you're asking for water, but water ain't free.
Again, I'd have to defer to the ordinances that we have to follow our ordinances relating to that. I don't know if there are any.
So if we had a leak over there about the time they got there, washing down. I know my daughter runs those things. I know what you're talking about. That's the mother runs. We've worked that out, I think. Anybody else?
The last thing I'd like to say is I certainly invite all 6 of you to come out and participate and get dirty with us for the
Maybe we can have a council vote off.
That's
a mother.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Control the snakes out there in the mud. I've been enjoying.
Well, there we could get it over. Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
The next thing on here is employee luncheons. You have it on your schedule on here. We're just asking, I think we did it last year, and we were looking at the cost. And, we have, for the remainder of the year, we got a luncheon on the 3rd of July, and then 31 August, we got a Labor Day luncheon, and then right behind it, October, whatever. We're going to do it and save the cost and stuff. Some employees will say themselves, well, this is how many we have total, for the year. We just had one for Memorial Day. Five luncheons. This just a suggestion, gentlemen. We all look at what we're doing. I like taking care of our boys. Maybe we come out another way, a little bit cheaper or something else, or luncheon kind of like, you know. And we've gotten angry emails from people finding out we're shutting down and taking their asking them. I think most of y'all got that one. The guy about $8,000 or $9,000 shutting down to have a luncheon and go. Or just ask that we need to start looking at those ahead. With that being done, do we have a bill? We said we still need to go to executive session. Do I have a motion to convene executive session? We're not speaking on the agenda this time. Sorry. Motion approved. Which one, Bill? Those, this executive session.
It would be letter C, consult or meet with legal counsel pertaining to pending or potential litigation, settlement of claims, administrative proceedings, or other judicial actions.
Okay, do I have a motion for the executive session?
I'll make the motion to go into executive session for legal counsel pertaining to potential litigation, settlement of claims.
Do you have a second?
I'm second.
All in favor? 1, 2, 3. Opposed? Not. I'm in favor. Mr. Thomas? And Mr. Duttenberg, abstain. Okay. We'll be back.
And then 2 weeks after I qualified, I sat down at the computer. That was just said, let me sit down for a minute. Yeah, Bill. All right. Thank you. See, you doing okay? Good to see you. So, actually, the lecture will be over tomorrow. This is the primary. that's still a pretty long task, so we'll see. Right now, everybody's saying the incumbent. Can you get sworn to some of this? My phone is dead on bad. You watch me watch baseball. Yeah, I'm crazy. I'll win. I know, what's another game? It's 32, 26. Sure. Everybody comes with it. They got a lot of beautiful museums, but they got some crazies up there like you can't. We were living in the Air Force Base. What? Oh yeah, that's right. Made a couple of things. I was here. Okay, that's good. Where's he at? Yeah. I flew a biplane back a couple of days ago. That's as far as you can get away from here and stay on this continent. Yeah, and it was cold. Open cockpit biplane. Well, it was October. It was winter in Alaska. Well, it was cold. It was 28 when we left North Pole. And that's pretty cold. But by the time we got to North Dakota, it was 18. You know, the land of 1,000 lakes in Minnesota, 1,000 frozen lakes. No, I'm just down here south of Stockbridge. I'm on the airport, a little airport outside of Stockbridge. Mills Mill. That's where I got to hang out. My house backs up. Not as much as I'd like to, but still. The only thing, I still fly air shows about where I used to fly charter. Yeah, that's what feeds my house. Yeah, that's a great guy. No, I've been out there at the airport. You know, I'm about to turn into the old airport thing. I just watch them fly and wish I was, you know. But maybe I'll be flying. If I win this thing in Washington, I'll probably start flying there. So I've got to do airplane. I've got a big enough fast airplane to do it. Because then I can set my schedule. Go up there, you fly there. That's non-stop. I go non-stop. Which with, you know, with the airplane, fighting your way through the terminal and all that stuff. I can be there quicker than you can on an airline. You know, Panama City or Destin. I can be in Destin before your plane leaves the gate. I believe. Yeah, I can be in Destin. Okay, well, we're gonna go. Well, good luck. Good luck.
Yes, honey.
All right, Tony. Good to
Yes,
see you
honey.
guys.
How was it?
Do I have a motion to reconvene the regular session?
I so move.
I second.
All in favor? Okay, I need a motion that the mayor sign a affidavit with paragraph 3. I don't think we discussed it, it's all the council attorney to attend with the delegation and things, all that. Anybody want to sign?
I'll make the motion to allow the mayor to sign.
Got a second?
I second.
All in favor? 2, 3, 4, 5. Oh, before we go, Mr. Thomas, I want to clarify, you stepped out with an item number 6 for Glenda Garrison, Henry County Communities, we removed that from there. And I had down as 4, everybody agreed to remove it. Change that to 5, you agree with that? And with that, there's no committee meeting updates. They're all there, it's published, everybody sees it, they're on it there. Put out. Okay, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I move to adjourn.
Second. Second. All in favor? 5-0. Thank you.